welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Chris McGee, Robert Ory, James Worthy, Wet Alley, and Mike Trudell down at Crypto.com Arena. The Lakers end the season on a 3-game win streak. They finished with an impressive 53 wins on the season. And with Denver beating the Spurs, the Lakers secure the 4th overall spot. They will open with Houston next weekend here in downtown Los Angeles. Before we get to all that, let's talk about this game. I know you guys were really happy with the way this team came out and attacked this game. Very businesslike, opened up a big lead. Everyone played, James. All 14 guys scored.
You know, Geeter, for the way the Lakers finished the season, you know, and for the effort that the guys are putting out, getting ready to go into the playoffs, I want to give just
oh, wow, we haven't had one of those in a while.
Just a little bit of, we got baby Jonathan in the house, too. I just want to give him just a little bit of worthy clap.
Oh, that's funny.
My pick for the game, Bronny James came in, patient. But to your question, Geeter, the Lakers were really looking forward to moving forward now. You can tell that they took this game seriously, even though they didn't need to win. It didn't make a difference. LeBron came in. He knows he's got to lead these guys. He wanted to get out there and get rhythm with them. You know, I think Ayton is going to be key. You know, his efficiency in the paint. Rui is another guy. They're going to have to step up. You're talking about 2 guys that are going to have to replace Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves as far as, you know, picking up the pieces a little bit. Those 2 guys are next in line. Kennard's another one. But I thought, as you look at these 2 guys tonight, both 22 points, high efficient from the field, rebounds. I love the additional rebounding from Rui. He's usually down with 3 or 4 rebounds. He gets up into that 7 to 8, 9 rebounds a game going out. That's going to be very beneficial for the Lakers. So I thought, you know, they got the rhythm they needed. Now it's time to get ready for the first round.
For me, it was very important for them to get the rhythm and to get to understanding one another. Because you think about this starting lineup, we hadn't seen this starting lineup together a lot, and this is probably the starting line we got to go with. You know, and to capitalize on what James just said about Rui. Rui is one of the most athletic guys on his team, but his rebounding doesn't show it. So he has to know he's got to step up in this situation and get a lot of rebounds. And going over to, you know, Marcus Smart. You know, he was very smart tonight, getting a lot of guys involved, especially DA, who had the 10, you know, the double-double, which we need to have each and every night from here on out. But I like the fact that Marcus Smart had 10 assists. He was getting everybody involved. But my only concern is Luke Kennard right now. I know he only played a couple of minutes. I just hope he's fine, because we definitely going to need him to be that extra scorer and that extra eyes on the floor.
Yeah, you saw that graphic right there. 44 points between the 2 of them, Rui and Ayton, 20 rebounds, which we love, and they were a combined 18 for 26. DeAndre Ayton had that pep in his step today. You could tell by the way he was running the floor, kind of demanding the ball, getting his own offensive rebounds, catching a lot of lobs. So it was nice to see Rui and Ayton, because without AR and Luka, those are your next 2 guys.
Yeah.
That have the ability to give you 20 on any given night. And that's what they're going to have to do if you're going to survive in the first round of playoffs.
And Ayton has proved off and on this season. I mean, I'm going back to the run that they were on, especially when they played Denver here at home. He had a really good game against Jokic, got a block against him. You know, we know that he has potential. He just had to have his mind ready at the beginning of the game, and I do think Marcus Smart is the one guy that recognizes that. You got to get him the ball, get him some lobs, get him involved, and he'll stay involved. But sometimes when he's setting picks and popping, not getting the touches, and it becomes kind of tough for him to stay in the game.
I think when you talk about Luka and you talk about AR, they're not traditional pick and pop guys like, you know, Marcus Smart is. Because when the Marcus Smart comes out, he's going to look to give it to the big. You know, Luka's going to look at the, you know, navigate, unless he knows it's a direct line of lob, but he's going to look to try to score, and AR is the same. But I think when DA knows that, okay, if I set a pick and roll for these 2 guys, I got a 95% chance I'm going to get the rock. So he's engaged, and that's what you got to be engaged. And I know, you know, when we talk about the playoffs, it's a different beast.
Yeah.
And we know DA has been to the finals. We don't talk about that.
Yeah.
He's been to the finals with the Suns. So he has a lot of experience. And I think sometimes when you have guys who had a lot of experience, you know, a lot of success early, they kind of get, you know, I'm coming from me. Sometimes the regular season like do-do-do-do-do, you know, but when the playoffs come around, because we hadn't seen DA in the playoffs in a while. So I'm really interested to see how he handled the playoffs, because when you smell playoffs, it's a different type of energy, a different type of emotion.
I've often, you know, not debated, but talked to a lot of people about that, because you put so much emphasis on the regular season and you want everyone to be here the whole time. It's impossible to be here the whole time. The great teams have another gear and have another level. I mean, you guys have a lot of experience in that. When it's playoff time, KD, a lot of experience. They're stepping up. Lakers have to take another step up.
Yeah,
and that's where experience comes into play.
Look, I can remember, and this is a long time ago, but I can remember, you know, guarding Larry Bird on a Tuesday night.
I thought you said when dinosaurs roam. I thought you were going to say that.
That too. I got some bones. But I can remember guarding Larry Bird on a Tuesday night. You know, getting into New York on Wednesday night, guarding Bernard King.
Yeah.
Take Thursday night off, going to Philly. Now I got to guard Dr. J. So, yeah, and during the regular season, you're not going to be as consistent as you are. When you get one team, you got 2 or 3 players to concentrate on. You got video to look at. You don't have to travel as much. You should have a better percentage efficiency in the playoffs because of that. You know, like I said, less travel, focusing on 2 or 3 things, and you just make changes from game to game. So I think that benefits the Lakers that they're going to be focusing on one team as opposed to, you know, having 2 guys out and having to navigate around from team to team. It might be beneficial for them to be focused on one team at a time coming up with the Rockets.
When you look at the 25-26 playoffs, no one's going to have more games played than LeBron James. In his 23rd season, he is once again going to lead this team into the postseason. And Rob, he came out tonight, only played that first half, right? He had 18 points in 17 minutes. He had the 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 steals. Does he look ready to you? Yeah,
you know, LeBron is like, you know, James, you remember this, the cars you had to put in the crank in the front?
Yes, sir.
And to get him going. That was like him tonight. This was his crank to get him going. He's one of those guys, now he smells the playoffs, his energy and his focus is going to be heightened. He's going to be ready to go. You know, he's going to do everything properly to get him ready, but he's also going to pass along the knowledge. He's going to get these other guys, hey, this is what you need to do for us to get past this first round and get further into this playoff. So that's the one thing that's so amazing about this guy, that he's experienced everything when it comes to the playoffs. He's the #1 guy in playoff games played. He's the #1 guy in games played, period. So why don't you just listen to this guy and take, you know, and follow him? You know, if I'm a player in the locker room with LeBron right now, I'm like, yo, man, what do you do to prepare for this upcoming journey? Because I'm going to kind of try to copy that so my body can be ready. So that's one of the things you can always lean on when you got guys like this that's in your locker room.
He's been in just about every scenario there is. You know, down, what, 3-0 against Golden State, come back.
3-1.
3-1, big-time comeback. So what he's trying to show these guys is, look, I know we're without Luka and Austin, and if anybody can get down, LeBron can get down while he's driving his car on the way home. But he's not going to let these guys know that we have a deficit. Look, I'm here. You guys are here in the NBA. Let's see what we can do. We got home court advantage. We worked too hard for that. Let's go. Guys have to pick up the pieces, and I think they have enough veteranism, as Rob would say. You got Kennard, you got Rui, you got Ayton, who's been in the playoffs, and then you got guys coming off the bench like Jake LaRavia, who's a hard-playing, tough-nosed kid. So they just got to see what they can do. Upsets are made for the playoffs, and they're in the perfect position to do so. I think they can. I think they can get past the Rockets. In my opinion, it's just when you get to the second round, that's when it's going to get kind of touchy.
And we were right when we were all sitting together watching the game and guessing when they were going to play. It is now official. They're playing 5:30 on Saturday night.
They're playing on Saturday?
Yes.
What?
And I think the 1 and 2 seeds and the play-in teams all play on Sunday. Remember, because the play-in.
That's Saturday.
So that's why Rob, you're not. I know Rob likes the Lakers on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. Saturday the 18th.
Saturday night, 18th.
What does the NBA?
What
the NBA doing, David? Adam. Adam, what are you doing, man? We play on Sunday.
Saturday, 5:30, primetime game.
Oh, it's 5:30?
Yeah.
Let me write that in my head.
Yeah. Is that why your phone's going crazy right there?
No, that's my wife.
Listen, I just want to say, listen, wait. Luka, AR, LeBron, they combined to miss 73 games. Marcus Smart missed a handful of games. Jackson Hayes, a lot of guys, right? Props to this Laker team for 53 wins in the regular season. Congrats to this man right here. JJ Redick did a great job. Brought to you by your Toyota dealers. Here he is talking with Mike Trudell in the media.
We just found out you guys will play the Houston Rockets in the first round Saturday. I guess just what's your first blush thought of meeting that team?
Yeah, I mean, again, we
have tried for the last 6 weeks to build towards the playoffs, both in our mentality, with our habits, all that stuff. We knew the reality, whether we got 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it was. There's no easy matchup. There's all those teams, slotted there are tough teams. Whether it was going to end up being, Denver, Minnesota, or Houston. Houston's obviously a really, really good basketball team, and we're gonna prepare, and we're gonna fight, and we're gonna go try to win the series. And that's, going into today, we told the team, like, it's not about the opponent, it's about us, and now it is about the opponent, and we're gonna do everything we can to get our guys in a great frame of mind, great physical shape over the next 4 or 5 days, and be ready to play.
JJ, you had mentioned at some point on the last trip about how, trying to elongate the season long enough in round one so that Luka and Austin would have a chance to come back. But at the same time, you're focused on this group that you've been building through these couple of days. How do those meet in the middle as you kind of prepare and think, big picture about the postseason?
Yeah, again, it's the task at hand. We got game one, whenever that is, with the group that we have, and figure out the best way for us to put ourselves in a position to win game one.
JJ, Jake played his 82nd game. We've talked about it throughout this season, but just the way the season's gone, very unpredictable, guys in and out. Just what's that consistency from Jake meant, not only his availability, but in the consistency that he plays with? Yeah,
he's been huge for our team. First of all, to play 82 games, particularly now, is a huge accomplishment. I think 18 guys did it this year in the entire NBA. He takes a lot of pride in taking care of himself and doing all the things necessary to get ready to play. And he set that as a goal this year. Really, happy for him on a personal level, but also just for our team. He's brought a really high level of consistency, particularly on the defensive end and with his effort throughout the season.
I know you're going to obviously spend the next 5-6 days prepping for the series, but is there anything strategy-wise at the top of the list when you think about the Houston Rockets in terms of what you have to control on your end, the controllables for your end?
Not there yet.
Can you talk about the culture you wanted to build here when you took the job, and the culture that you have built in terms of back-to-back, top 4 seeds? You said that I don't want to be in the play-in, I want to be in the playoffs. Well, not only that, you have home court. Talk about the culture that this team has right now.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I think with both seasons, I used the word the other day, or the phrase the other day, we've had to coach a bunch of different ways in both years. Partially because last year, we basically had 3 different teams if you look at the 3 segments of the season, and this season with the injuries and just how disjointed it felt to times, I think the biggest thing for our players to see from obviously myself, but our staff is just how relentless we are about trying to get these guys prepared, how relentless we are about trying to win, and I think our guys respond to that, and I think the results have have shown that they've responded. But I think overall, the culture piece, it's not just about winning or a winning formula. It's about how we as coaches and we as players, how we all interact and interface with each other, and it's never going to be perfect. But I think the level of respect that our guys have for each other, that our coaches have for our guys, it's there every day.
Hey, JJ, 17 assists for Marcus Smart in the last 2 games. How underrated has his playmaking aspect been missed for this team, and how vital is it now going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big reason, we wanted to bring Smart here, not just for his defense, even post Boston, the last couple seasons, he's graded out well as a secondary playmaker. So he's been in that position before. He knows how to get other guys involved. Tonight he had a great feel for getting DA involved, and I think it's important with the loss of AR and Luka, that is not just all on Luke and LeBron to be playmakers. Smart can fill in with that too.
Hey, Coach, over here. What are some things you've seen from this team over the last week that you hope to carry over into this series?
Resiliency. The playoffs to me are all about resiliency, and part of that is the euphemism or idiom, as Dan likes to say, of not letting go of the rope. You're playing one opponent in the playoffs, and there's a bunch of things that are going to happen, some good, some bad. You may get down in a series. You may get down in the game. You may get down in a game on the road, and just you have to play with resiliency. There's a Dermot Kennedy line, and I'm forgetting it right now, but I think the team that is unwilling to let go of the rope for the longest amount of time, that's ultimately obviously the team that wins the series.
Under Coach J.J. Redick and his coaching staff, hitting some shots. He has some bounce. He has some speed. He's got to find a game that works for him. So I like his performance.
Awesome. DeAndre Ayton with the media.
I feel good. I think all season we've been playing this, playing into the next man up mentality. Guys being in and out of the season, and we've been fighting through the adversity, and I think we have a good plan of how we'll approach this during the playoffs.
How badly do you need to have a healthy Luka and a healthy Austin?
Most definitely badly. You just named two guys that is basically half and half of the whole team, and to me, I think we're picking up our level of intensity when it comes to effort. Our effort level is making up for a lot of our mistakes, and we're taking pride on the defensive end as well to create rhythm on the offensive end. So there's a total different team now, but we're sticking to the togetherness part of it, to finish off these games.
Tonight's game, you had a nice evening, but just to finish out with a blowout the way you did, what was tonight's game like for you?
I really just wanted to be on the boards, knowing that they didn't have no rim protection, and really just close out possessions, not give them second chances, and just have our guys run, and just change momentum, get the crowd into it a little bit, and just try to bring some joy and momentum and some fun, and closing this out the right way. So it was some motivation as well.
Yeah, lastly, I want to say you finished in the fourth spot. How would you assess the regular season? How did it go, do you think, overall?
I think it went well. Unfortunately, we had a lot of, bad injuries, but, I felt like the way how we approached it and, just let adversity settle in, you see the outcome. We didn't do too bad. And, I'm glad we got guys like LeBron on the team and Marcus, just to lead us through all of this, when we don't have our main guys. Oh, now y'all want to pull up. Shit, I'm on the 7-8 question, right? Thank you very much. I'm about to be done. Yeah.
You guys are going to have Houston in the first round.
How you know this?
How do I know it?
Yeah.
Well, the league announced it.
When? I didn't get a chance to do that. Let me get a chance to go look at it, man. You supposed to be a surprise, bro.
Surprise?
You just blew it up. Just ruined the damn surprise. I wanted to see who I got in the playoffs, and he just go ahead and spilled the tea.
You know who you guys playing in the playoffs?
No, I don't.
Oh, you want to know?
No. No. I would like to look at my phone.
Look at your phone.
And when I'm done with this, I'd like to look at my phone and see who I got. Tell me who I got.
I don't know.
All right.
Go look at your phone. What you saying, though?
You guys got Houston. I'm sorry to spoil it. Just where can you draw from the games you guys played against them? I think it was in March. March? I know it's different context, of guys, but can you take any away from those games?
I'll say those were intense games. They gave us playoff atmosphere, with the fans and the crowd. But just different concepts and strategies on how they attacked us, and I felt like it was a defensive game for us in the second effort type of game where we have to turn up the level of intensity quite a bit, playing against their type of versatilities.
All right, DeAndre Ayton, guys. DeAndre Ayton had a nice little game there, Rob.
Yes, 22 and 10, or 20 and 10, or whatever it is. When you look at the playoffs that are about to happen, to me, he is the biggest key to this series. Because we always know what the superstars are going to do, but we got two of them missing. And you always have to look at guys who's going to be able to step up. And, you want guys to step up, but do they have the capability to step up? And this guy does have that. So he's going to be so important. So I hope he get his mind right and everybody on this squad, they look to him. Because when you have a guy like him on your team, your first couple of plays should be to him. Feed him and see how he's going, and then adjust your system that. So hopefully JJ and the coaching staff will realize that he's going to have to go at Sengun because Sengun is going to go at him. So if he gets in foul trouble, and there's no knock on everybody else that plays that center spot, but I just think I think he was shot 60% on the year or something crazy like that, and it's not just, points in the paint, it's just little jump shots. So he's going to have to be that key guy to step up. If he can average 20 and 10 in this series, I think the Lakers move on.
I don't think that's asking too much from him. I don't think he.
No,
I think he would agree.
He could be a double guy every night. But you have to activate him. I understand players like that. You have to call their plays, and I think I said that earlier. Marcus Smart sees that. It looks like he's from the outside looking in and says, if we get Ayton involved, we get some high percentage shots in the paint. Like Rob said, give him a little sugar. Then he's involved. Then he's blocking shots. He's talking. He does a really good job on the defensive end, by the way, of directing traffic, zoning up and being there for protection. So he's a good player. He just needs to be activated.
All right, first round, Rockets.
Yeah.
Dang it.
You're going to have to start getting tickets for your family.
There go my boys going to be calling me. I know my phone will be ringing in a second.
All right, we're talking Rockets a little bit. James, what are you thinking about for this first round of the series? We've seen them 3 times. Obviously, the Christmas Day game when AR got hurt, Rockets blew the Lakers out. But the last 2 times, obviously, Luka and AR were playing. The Lakers were whole. But those were 2 great games in Houston with the Lakers getting the dub.
Yeah, we're going to be without those 2. So you're going to be short offensively. For sure. So I'm not worried about, I think collectively it's hard to make up, practically almost 55 points or 50 points a game, but they're capable of doing it together. And I think, defensively, you got Sengun, you got Durant, you got guys that you're going to have to pay attention to. Yeah, Thompson. But I really think the Lakers, if they play together and if they move from this game on into the next game with the defensive principles, I like what Jake has been doing. I like what Max has been doing. Vanderbilt's coming off the bench, with some effort. They're going to need all that, but I think the 2 guys is going to be key, as we've been mentioning, are Ayton and Rui.
Obviously, one of the big storylines in this series is going to be rebounding. The Rockets are the best offensive rebounding team in the league, and we saw the trouble that they caused the Lakers in those games. That's going to be a big focus for this Laker team. Well, it's a young, athletic team.
Yeah, when you look at the Rockets, their average height is 6'9" out there when they play. And so you got to put a body on them because those guys that they have out there, that's how they feast because, they don't have any, cold-blooded 3-point shooters outside of the guy from KU. And I think when you play this team, the Rockets are going to adjust because you think about the last 2 games that we beat them, we blitzed KD to get it out of his hand.
One of those games didn't have Sengun.
Yeah, they didn't have Sengun. So you got to understand the Rockets are going to be ready for that. So you're going to have to be able to adjust on the fly in case that's not working. But I think now, this is no knock on the 2 guys that are going to be out. Now that we have, Rui in the lineup, that gives us a little bit more size and athleticism. So, but we're going to miss those 2 guys. I want them there. Yeah. But, the matchup is kind of favorable. That's why I love what Rui did tonight by getting 10 rebounds. Hopefully that is a prerequisite of what he can do by rebounding because it's going to be very vital for him to box out and rebound.
You know who else will be back? Jackson Hayes. And I'm looking forward to his year 2 in the playoffs. I know it didn't go as planned for him in year number 1. So I think we're going to see a much better version of Jackson Hayes. All right, Rui Hachimura dropped.
The news on the purple and gold is Access Sportsnet Lakers. Before tip-off, our panel of experts break down the day's matchup.
He's proven to be a threat offensively. I love that little mid-range game. Very impressed.
And after the final buzzer, head back to the studio for post-game reaction, highlights, and interviews.
When you got the size advantage and the skill advantage, you take over, and that's what he did tonight.
Access Sportsnet Lakers, pre- and post-game coverage on Spectrum Sportsnet.
Laker fans, time to celebrate. Your Lakers won the game, scoring you 2 free tacos with any drink purchase from Jack in the Box tomorrow. Just ask for the Lakers deal when you order, valid only at Los Angeles restaurants. Go Lakers. Go Jack. Rui Hachimura, 22 points. He's at the podium.
Rui, first just a big picture question to get to the win total that you had and the 4 seed and home court in round 1 despite all the injuries and all the guys that have been missing. What do you think was the key to that for this team?
I think it was a chemistry. I think I talk about a lot about chemistry. How important, especially in the basketball. It's team sports. We all know we all need each other. I think get through this season, especially 82 games, really long. A lot of things happening, injury, different lineups. They're all going to offense rebounds. So we got to practice those boxes now. As a team, we have to. 5 guys got to get on the defense rebound. So. Yeah, I think we can do a lot of things, but I think, and tomorrow we get off and, we got to rest our body first.
Robert?
Yes, sir.
Are you breaking down Rui?
Yes, I'm going to show you what RH does. The RH factor is real, and it's going to have to be really real when the playoffs start off.
Flames for James.
If he can do certain things like we showed tonight or what he showed tonight, it's going to be important. Because look at this pick and roll, post up. Now he got a shorter guy on him, and we know how athletic he is. But here, he's seeing the situation. What can he do? Can he score or pass it? And this is one thing I'm impressed. He's a willing passer, even though he gets off his feet and he shouldn't have. But look, he goes to his favorite spot. Pump fake, relocate, go to the hole, little razzle dazzle right there for the layup. And that's one of the things that we don't really see much out of Rui this year because he's more of a spot-up shooter. That's why he's going to lead the top 5 in three-point percentage. Now the defense, look at the defense not even paying Rui any attention. But back up, get to your sweet spot, get your hands ready, catch. And the thing about Rui, when he shoots his 3, he's not in a rush. That's probably why he's been shooting so well, because he gets his feet set and does what he needs. Now, this is a great little flare screen right here. Oh, that's Max. I thought it was Timmy for a second. Nice little pick there by Max to get him open. Now, you saw his form. It's so smooth and it's exact. And I talk about it all the time when you shoot threes. Your form has to be the same. Now you get the defensive class. Look. Get open. Another great screen by Max. Look at his form. It's the exact same. It's almost like deja vu when you see it. And that's why he's been shooting the ball so well this season from 3, because when he shoots it, everything is the same. And that's what you got to be. Consistency. Consistent in shooting, consistent in everything you do.
Big game. I'll jump in there.
Great breakdown, Rob. And, it also has to do with the ball movement as well. They had a good game tonight. I think they had over 37 or 6 or something like that tonight. So when the ball is moving, which is something we talked about earlier, when Luka has the ball, he holds it a little bit longer. Same with Austin. That's great when they're on the court. But without them on the court, if it's moving, I think that's where everybody gets to be involved, not just 2-3 players, all 5 on the floor.
And by the way, the rebounding, and Rui talked about this. This is something we've been talking about since Rui has been here. He's capable, Rob, of having these double-digit rebound games like he had tonight. And he even mentioned that that's a strength of the Rockets.
He has to be that. He has to put in his mindset that I'm going to hit before I get hit, because he's a strong physical guy. We talk about his ability to get to the hole and do LeBron-like things. And he has the ability